right, Miss Alexa. First off, thank you so much for being here. I always
Thank
love
you.
talking to you. We've been in contact for a little over a year now since we first met, and I always love our interaction. So I'm real thankful and blessed that you're here and taking time to do this because this is going to be fun. But just for anybody who maybe doesn't know who you are, maybe want to learn a little bit more about you, just a quick background of who you are and how you got started, and maybe why did you get into this authoring space. And I know you've created a really thriving business around write, publish, sell. Like, what kind of drove you towards that?
Yeah, well, thank you. I feel the same way about you. Our conversations are always a blast, so I'm happy to be here every time. Um, this is going to be a fun conversation, but it sadly starts my journey, as you already know, Philip, starts off with a not so fun or happy event. And what really got me into the writing world was the loss of one of my infant daughters, and that as many of us know, writing is such a cathartic endeavor. And for many of us, no matter what we're writing, especially fiction, my first fiction rom-com actually was a healing project, even though it's a fun story set in Paris about love, but it was a healing journey as well. So I started writing, I started blogging after my daughter passed away. And after some time, decided that I wanted to do a book. So I basically went into it. I had gotten into a lot of writing communities. I'd done some anthology projects with other publishers and other authors. So I kind of had my foot in the self-publishing world. And this was back in 2012, 2013. So in the beginning stages of all of this stuff really exploding onto the scene. And I found that I just really enjoyed the process. My background is in counterterrorism and intelligence, and I really like things that are complicated. And boy, if y'all haven't figured it out yet, the publishing industry is complicated. so it was fun. And as I started doing more projects and putting different things out there, starting with the first book, Sunshine After the Storm, a survival guide for the grieving mother, then moving into some parenting anthologies and parenting books, and people just started coming to me and saying, hey, I want to write a book. How did you do this? Can you help me with this? How do I get my book formatted? How do I get a cover? How do I load it to Amazon? And I really enjoyed helping people through the process and doing the things that they didn't want to figure out. So that's basically how Write, Publish, Sell began. And it has just continued to grow because I love sharing and I love providing resources and tools and training and teaching. And it's just a fun place to be. Books are so impactful, whether it's something that helps you heal, or whether it's something that makes you laugh, or whether it's just something that takes you away from your day-to-day nonsense. Like it's amazing. And so I'm proud and happy and excited to be in this world of working with authors to change people's lives in many scenarios.
Yeah, well, yeah, I did. I forgot about the whole counterterrorism thing. I remember hearing that for the first time. I was like, "Who am I
What?
interviewing? This doesn't make any." You seem like such a gentle soul, and you probably are. But I'm like, counterterrorism in the world am I listening to right now? Um, yeah, and
I
also,
have I have a two personalities. I have an alter ego there that comes
yeah,
out from time to time.
I know the bubbly sunshine, Alexa. I don't want to know the other one.
Look out.
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, that's awesome. I know just from us talking a little bit off screen and being in contact, like you know the importance of trying to navigate the publishing world, especially self-publishing. And for fiction authors, it can be kind of difficult. Because I know with nonfiction authors, a lot of times they're either already businessmen or women,
Yeah,
and they're looking at a book as kind of like a lead magnet or a business
yeah,
card. So they've already got that kind of business mindset, right? Where fiction authors, it's typically the other way around. They're kind of a artist and a craft first, and then the business idea or thought either doesn't come or it comes later. Um, but I'm always of mind of this trying to connect the two as early as you possibly
yes.
can, which falls in line with the topic we're going to talk about today, which is marketing. Obviously, this is a Fiction Marketing Academy conference, so it's obviously one of the topics we'll be talking about here, but something that I know a lot of people don't really give much thought to. And if they do, I don't think maybe they understand how to navigate it and go about it the right way. And that's your ARC team.
Hmm.
And that's getting your advanced readers, which is different than a beta reader. So like people confuse the two a lot. So like just in terms before we get into like how to set up your launch team, build it, get the right people, reviews and stuff like that, like what's the simple definition of a difference between an ARC team and a beta reader? Because they are different.
They are, and this is I love this question because it's really fundamentally different roles that these two positions play. So a beta reader, or beta reader, if you are a follower of Joanna Penn with her British accent, these folks have a job to help you in the final preparation of your book. So after you've finished doing your own self editing, your next step really is to send it to your beta readers because they're going to help you clean it up. I suggest you do not use more than 5 max, because really they're helping you find holes in your story, maybe help you edit. I had one of my beta readers wanted to rewrite my whole book for me. I got lots and lots and lots of feedback from her, which was awesome, and I loved her for it. But I did not use everything she suggested. She went real gung ho, but there that you have that scenario as a possibility, so you have to be very careful. Generally, with fiction authors, it's going to be other authors probably that write in your genre, that know the genre, that know the things, that make sure that you're not missing any beats or key elements of your story arc, that make sure that the story resolves, that your characters develop the way they need to be, all of those things to help you improve. And before editing, because this will help you save a ton of money in editing if you can do a good solid round of self-editing, followed by a good round with 3 to 4 beta readers who will help you just improve your final manuscript. Some of you may go through this process in writing critique groups if you're part of a local group that you go to, and you read and you correct, that you get feedback, all that kind of stuff. But really the point is to get that manuscript as cleaned up as possible before it goes to editing. So that your editor, because your editor's job isn't to take a pile of poo and to make it magic. Your editor's job is to make your book, from one of the editors that I was talking about, to get it 10% better than it was when you got there. And you might think 10%, that's not very much, but actually to make anything 10% better takes a lot of time, energy, and effort. So if your book is already at 80, 85% because of all the work you've done through these other folks before, then you're looking at a manuscript that's really well polished by the time you've made it all the way through editing. That's your beta readers. Your launch team or arc team or street team or cheerleaders or whatever you want to call them, there's lots of terms for that out there. Actually, these folks are a completely different role. They are literally the people that help you spread the word of mouth of your book by reading your book in advance and being there ready to promote your book leading up to launch day, leave reviews on Goodreads, on social media, on their blogs, do all the fun things. And then of course, once the book launches, go over to the sales sites and leave their reviews in all of those places. So what you want to give to this team is completely different. You do not want to be sending out a not almost final version to hundreds and thousands potentially of people to read and review in advance. You want them to have a fairly polished version. It's not uncommon to send out an uncorrected proof though, and it's important that if you haven't gone through the final proofread, which most people haven't, or they're in that process during the ARC team process, you definitely just put on their uncorrected proof so that people know there may still be some errors that get caught in that last round. But as opposed to the beta reader where you want just a handful of people, because it can get really overwhelming if there's a lot of feedback and a lot of changes, your ARC team, sky's the limit. The more reviews and the more people you can get talking about your book, the better.
Yeah, I think that's one of the important distinctions there. And I have made this mistake not that long ago. Is I sent an email out to my list of people who are on my list for my book, which is separate from my business list. And I just asked, like, hey, so it's a little different because mine has already been published,
Mm-hmm.
but I went back and kind of revised it just a little bit. I cleaned it up a little bit. I saw some mistakes I didn't catch the first time around, that I went back and I wanted to get cleaned up. So I sent it to my list. So it was pretty much already done. So it wasn't like a rough draft. So I had
Mm-hmm.
them. I'm interested in your feedback on this. Like I sent them. I said, "Here's this book. It's been published. I just made a few revisions and cleaned it up, ran it through Pro Writing Aid. It's already been edited by a professional editor. It's like it's pretty much ready. I just want some feedback and see if you catch anything." So I had them choose: do you want to be a beta reader or do you want to be an ARC reader? And I had so many people respond. So I had like 25 beta readers
Oh my gosh.
who are like going through and trying to pick the manuscript apart. And then, probably just as many, ARC, maybe 30 ARC, which was cool. They still provide some things, but it is more for the sense of, like you said, reading, leaving a review, spreading the word and stuff like that. So I know from personal experience that's way too many beta readers because
Yes,
I'm like going
yes.
through. I'm like, how am I supposed to go through all of this in a reasonable amount of time and understand what's happening?
It's too much, and then you're sitting there looking at this person's feedback and this person. Now, I will give a plug here for our friend over at Story Origin, because
Evan.
Evan, yes, thank you, Spider-Man, Peter Parker. Um he's so cute. So we he has embedded a tool that you can actually have beta readers as part of your Story Origin thing, and it's really really cool, where you can have them providing feedback and you can implement that feedback in it. I think other people can see the changes that have been suggested. I'm not sure, but still, even with a cool tool like that, keep it to a handful. I think I had 5 people, and they varied. Well, a couple of them read through the entire manuscript and gave me like a 1 sheet document that was like, here are the key things that I noticed. Here's some things on theme, or here's some things that I thought were a little weird with the characters, whatever, all the way up to my very diligent, very invested friend who, I mean, just marked that document up like it was her, life's journey to correct and make sure this book was perfect. So it was awesome. Gotta love your author friends. But yeah, so but small numbers of people to work with you on that will help you a lot. So but ARC team, yeah, you want, in my opinion, and this is okay, fiction authors, I need you to sit here with me on this for a second, because we often get in this place where we're like, I have worked so hard on this book. I have spent so much time, energy, and money, be it through writing craft courses, all the way to marketing, to whatever editing, obviously, all those things. I don't want to give my book away to a bunch of people for free. I hear you. I don't want to do that either. It's a necessary part of marketing your book. And if you look at what the traditional industry does, they give out thousands of not just ebook copies, but print copies. Like, they are invested in this process. And it is because of the simple fact that you will never, ever, I'm pausing for effect here. You will never find a better marketing tool for your book than word of mouth. Never. No matter how much money you put into it, that is going to be your number one tool. So you got to give people the book so that they can talk about it. So yeah, get lots of people on your launch team. Be willing to give out both print and ebook copies. Obviously, when we can get right into it, into this building this ARC team if you want, because this is giving away print copies as kind of part of that process. So let me stop and start back over where you want to, and moving forward in this discussion before I just totally take off like a train going at full speed.
Yeah, so let's talk about building the ARC team. I've never thought about print copies for that part, which I think is really cool because you're right. Like if they read it and loved it, like they're going to hand it to a friend, or they're going to be on the beach reading it, or at a family gathering, and people, hey, what's that book? Or as opposed to being on your phone or your Kindle, it's not as easy.
Yes. Yes.
So that's a really cool strategy. So let's talk about how do we build these teams? Where are we finding these people? And a kind of a layered question on top of that is the purpose of an ARC team is to get reviews, like
Yes.
pre-launch early reviews. So when your book goes live on Amazon or like wherever it is, there's going to be all these reviews that are going to be on there. It's going to help the Amazon algorithm. If you run ads, it's going to help, people land on that page. They're like, this book just came out yesterday and it's already got 50, 5-star reviews, or it's 4.8 out of 5. And it just came out. Like that's way better than your book being out for a week and you've got like 2 reviews, right?
Right.
So
Right.
how do we build this team? Where do we find these people? And then are we looking at other avenues for reviews as well outside of the ARC team? Is that a part of it, or will that be a different kind of marketing avenue?
So I'm going to answer your question in reverse, because I
Okay.
want to talk about the review piece first, because
Okay.
that's a whole different process that we could spend a lot of time talking about, but I'm just going to give an overview of that, and then we're going to segment into the ARC team
Okay.
process of it. Okay, so yes, everything you just said, 100%. You want as many reviews as possible ahead of time. Amazon reviews are great, but don't discount. And if you don't know about these tools yet, sign up as a reader on Goodreads. Create a reader account, start building your friend following. It's a social media place for avid reviewers. Basically, all we talk about is books on Goodreads. So you're going to want to utilize Goodreads. You're going to want to utilize social media. You're going to want to utilize other tools that are out there. So there are wonderful places that have been designed and curated with the sole purpose of getting reviews on books. And many of these operate in the pre-launch period. So without going into a whole lot of time and energy on these, look up places like NetGalley for all the fiction authors out there. Look up Book Sirens. It's a great place. Same thing. They curate all the reviewers. You just load your book and information in there, and they find the people who are willing to leave reviews. And because they want to continue getting books, many of them will actually read and review the book on for sure on Goodreads. Many of them will post it on Amazon later. It just depends. It's hard to get reviews on Amazon from a lot of these places, but if they can at least put them on Goodreads or post socially or any of those things, then you also have like the Instagram tours, the book tours that can run in the pre-launch or immediate launch window or post-launch, where again it's companies who that's their job is to find readers. You pay the company, you tell them how many books you're willing to give them, how long you want it to run. They go find the reviewers and they talk about your book all over the place on social media, and it's really great. So that's one that's outside sources that you can go to specifically for reviews, and they are all paid. You're not going to get any of these things for free unless you do your own. It's completely possible to put together your own influencer tour, if you will, bookstagram tour, by going out there and finding people who review books and following them and engaging with them and asking them to participate. But it's more work. So this is a time, money, issue here. So that's review tools. Lots and lots of places to go out and do that. Have the budget for it. It's really nice and on launch week to see Instagram just blowing up with people posting the cover of your book and reviews about it. Like that's awesome. Okay, the launch team. Some of these people may or may not participate on your launch team. Like you can always have people like you can communicate with these companies or with these people as they're posting and ask them if they want to do other things, but more than likely they are going to be a separate entity. Your launch team is going to start with your warm audience, but you should do as much as you can as quickly as you can to spread outside of that. It's kind of funny because in one of our groups yesterday we were talking about reviews and how hard it is to get people to leave reviews, and how your family and friends are the absolute worst about it. Like they'll promise they're going to buy and read your book and they never do. So the faster you can get outside of that community and into people that are just readers who really want to read and review these books, the better. So tools that you can use to get your book out into the hands of different readers are Book Siren, not Book Sirens. Book Sirens is a reviewer tool, but to build your ARC team, you can do it through promos, through book funnel, all those types of things. You can just put it on your website. You can run ads and your own marketing and all of that kind of stuff to send people to your landing page on your website that says, I have a book coming out. Here's the description. Would you like to be on my advanced reader team? All of those types of things. So I think probably I would direct them to your email course on growing your email list on how to do all of those things. But there's a lot of ways to get your book in front of potential ARC readers. Again, there's sites, there's places, there's Facebook groups of people who want to get books. So there's lots of places to find them. But I want to talk about like what you do with them once you have them. Do you have any questions? Should I pause here? Are we?
Well, I was just going to mention, yeah, I was going to mention, you mentioned Evan and Story Origin earlier. He also has it.
Yes.
You can do beta copies in there, like you mentioned, and then you can join review promos, and people can actually, and you can open it to public so people can always constantly find it, and then they can get your book, and then they'll say where they're going to publish it, and you'll get them, and it'll show you 5 out of 5. And what I do is if they don't publish it on Amazon like they say they're going to, and it's a really good review, I'll just clip it and put it in the editorial review section on my
Perfect.
Amazon page.
Yep.
And then I know a lot of people talk about Pubby as well for reviews. I haven't used it personally, but I hear good things about it, but I don't know.
I would have to go back and give Pubby another try. One of the
Uh-oh.
things that turned me off about it was that it's highly, at the time, this is more than 2 years ago, the last time I tried it. So things changed dramatically. At the time when I tried it out, you could only pay for like one review. Like I wanted to just pay them and say, find me reviewers. I'll pay, I'll pay, you do that. But their process at the time was you had to earn points. And the way you earned points was reviewing other people's books. And I'm like, I don't have time to review a whole bunch of other people's books. Like I'm trying to get my book reviewed and I want you to go find readers and reviewers to review my book. So, for the authors that have time to do that, it's a great tool and it looked like it would be fun. But for me, it was way too much time investment based on what I was trying to do at the time. Whereas NetGalley, Book Sirens, Book Funnel, Book Story Origin, all these other tools, like you just load your book and do a few things here and market that link and whatever. They do all the hard work and find the readers, which is a blessing.
Yeah, that's a good
Um,
point. Yeah, that's exactly how they still do it, by the way.
oh, okay.
Just
So
from what I've heard, and I've checked out the page. Yeah, so okay, perfect. Let's ARC team. Let's figure out how
yes.
to build this bad boy out.
Okay. So again, the thing with the ARC team is to keep in mind what it is that they are there to do for you, which Philip nicely described a minute ago. And that is to create that pre-launch buzz and to have those reviews ready and lined up for Amazon. So Amazon in itself has a bunch of things that you need to work around, and educating your review team on these things will help you along the way. Um, I have a lot of things, so I'm going to try to keep them as organized as possible. So we'll stick with the Amazon thing right now. The more that you can do to educate your readers on when and where you want them to be and what you want them to do, the better. So, with a lot of us are trying, because of the way the algorithms work on Amazon and getting placement and all that kind of stuff, it's obviously best to direct as much traffic as you can in as short of a window as you can. If that's one day, even better. If it's like 1 hour or one specific window of time, a couple of hours, the more people that you can send that day, the better. So when you're pulling together your advanced reader team, you're doing a couple of things. As soon as they sign up on your email list, you're one, giving them the book, and you're two, giving them a little bit of education on what it is that they're doing for you. And you continue to educate them. We like to create a Facebook group where we can put everybody who signs up on an email list, we give them the option to join the Facebook group. Then we can post things that we want them to know about. We post our, adventure along the way, what's happening. Here's the latest cover. Here's, a giveaway we're doing. Here's this or that, to keep them engaged and excited about the process, but also to make sure that they know the dates when things are happening if they're not big on reading their emails. So, when the book goes live, when the Amazon, when the giveaway on Goodreads is happening, or when this is happening, when we want them to take this step, when we have new social media for them to post on the book. And so, you're creating a funnel through your email and into that Facebook group so that you can keep them in the game with you and educate them. So the Amazon education piece is really important and will save you on launch day from a lot of issues. The first thing is, I would put your ebook on 99 cents at some point in time. Not everybody does a 99 cent. A lot of fiction authors are at the point now where this is part of our launch strategy. We do the 99 cent or the 0 download days through Kindle, KDP Select, Kindle Unlimited periodically. But even if you're not planning on doing a long window for 99 cents for your ARC team, I would have a couple of days where you drop it to that rate so that they can purchase the book, so that when they do go leave their reviews, it's a verified purchase. That's one thing that will help you in the review process. If they don't buy the book, that's not a big deal. You are allowed to review products that on Amazon that you did not buy through Amazon. But where people start getting reviews rejected are for a couple of things. One, it's a known associate, which you'd be surprised how far the bots can dig to find out who's
Yeah.
a known associate. It's pretty amazing. But even bigger than that are people that have never ever reviewed anything before on Amazon before in their entire life until the day your book publishes, and then all of a sudden they leave a review and they didn't buy the book. That's a red flag to the system. So some ways that you can educate your readers is, if you've purchased other things, if you've purchased other books and you want to go out and start leaving some reviews on some of these, so that on my launch day, if you leave your review, you won't get flagged. That's one way that you can help them. And then, of course, helping them understand why leaving a review in the first place is so important. If they understand that, that those reviews really influence other people trying to buy the book, and it's important to have them, then people are more likely to actually go and do that for you if they want to be part of that process. So that's the Amazon piece. Then the other pieces associated with building this launch team are really to help you do all kinds of other things. The sky is the limit, but if you're going to be growing an email list around people who have said, yes, I will take an advanced reader copy of your book to help you create buzz around your book, then help them do that. People are busy, they forget, they have other things going on in their lives. So emailing them on a regular basis, not every day, but on a regular basis, and giving them tasks is a great way to do it. So maybe in 3 months out from your launch, you have a task where you ask everybody to post an image on social media that says, we're looking for ARC readers, because a lot of these people will have people in their audiences who also like to do book reviews and all those types of things. So maybe you have an image that you ask people to post, give them hashtags, give them content, give them a link to send people. That's an idea. Maybe you ask all of them to post if you're running giveaways someplace. Hey, everybody, you can get a free print copy of my book here or there. Other things along that nature. Give them activities throughout the pre-launch window. Definitely make sure that they are very well aware of what your launch date is and when you want them going to Amazon to buy or review the book, and definitely follow up multiple times post-launch. Not every day, but maybe like the day after, a week after, a month after that, maybe 3 months after that, those types of things. The print book. So you had asked specifically about that, where that fits in there. What we like to do is we like to give anybody who wants an advanced reader copy, which first of all, let me say, I don't like to offer it to my warm audience, because my warm audience, I'm hoping, are people that will actually buy the book. So I'm talking friends and family here, like not necessarily a warm audience like other, things, but the people that you hope will invest at least 99 cents on your ebook or something. I don't usually send them the link to join my ARC team. I do use that to cold audiences like the book funnel and story origin audience, all those types of things. So one of the things that we do, we will send the ebook almost to anybody who requests it that way. But we have a form. We don't just we send people on social media or through our email list or through other things that we're doing, other marketing that we're doing. We actually create a Google form that has ARC team information. It has the title of the book, the description of the book, the cover, a picture of the cover. It says what we're looking for people to do. And we have them actually fill out an application. We ask where they would be likely to post the review. We ask how many followers they have on social media, and if they do book reviews regularly. We ask them different questions like that will help us, because we let them know that we'll have 20 print copies or whatever number is safely in your budget to do this, 10, 15, 20 copies. We'll pick basically the best influencer. We don't put this in the form, but basically we say have a limited number of print copies, and then we review the responses and we pick what looks like the most influential people and send them a little influencer box. So that influencer box could be as limited as just a copy of the print book, to as much as we had one of our authors send candles and stickers and the book, and like it was an affair. Like she sent out this big beautiful box to these 20 people, and because she knew that they would do a good job in return, and that they had lots and lots of followers on Instagram, and they would post reels and do all the fun stuff, and they did. So just one note on the print copy, because the next question a lot of people ask, and I know I'm getting really in the weeds here, but you're going to want to make sure that you have a way to get print copies in advance. So if you're not putting your book on Ingram Spark, you should highly consider that for a variety of reasons. Your print book can be in multiple places, even if your ebook is going to be Kindle Unlimited or KDP Select. But you can order copies of final print copies of your book whenever you want to on Ingram Spark, whereas on Amazon, you can't order print copies outside of the ones that have the giant proof banner across it. So you don't want that. But prior to publication, you can order actual final copies of your book through Ingram Spark to be able to do this influencer thing. I'm going to pause there because I just dumped a lot of information.
No, I think that's great. I love getting into the weeds of all this stuff. Yeah, and it's so funny. I just talked to a lady earlier this morning, Carrie Ray Barnum. She's on the summit too, and
Love Carrie.
yeah, she's great. And she just mentioned almost the same thing with and for some reason it's never dawned on me, but like if you're exclusive to KDP, with your ebook, you could still go wide with your print book. And I mean,
Yep.
she, almost word for word, she started talking about Ingram Spark and all. I'm like, I don't know why this. I just figured you're on KDP, like you can't go anywhere else with your print. Never dawned on me for your print book, but she's like, she looked at it as multiple streams of income. She's looking at like multiple avenues of exposure. She's like, so
Yep.
if your ebook's just there, that's fine. Put your print book everywhere else. And I'm like, that's such a genius idea. That makes so much sense.
I'm just going to tell you one thing, and I don't have time to get into the weeds on this, but just make sure that your book, if you're putting it on Ingram Spark, make sure that your book is marked as non-returnable when you get to the form. And we have an Ingram Spark tutorial on our Write, Publish, Sell YouTube account. So if you've never used Ingram Spark and need help going through the forms and loading your book, go check that out. But make it not returnable, because what happens is Amazon will order, when they see activity on your account, they'll order a bunch of books in the anticipation that they may sell, and 90 to 180 days later they will return all the books that didn't sell, and you will wind up with thousands, hundreds to thousands of dollars of money owed to Ingram because of the cost of printing and returning those books. So for us, for indie authors, it's still a great tool to use. If it's on Ingram Spark, people will be able to order it online at Barnes and Noble. They'll be able to go into a Barnes and Noble and request the book. They'll be able to go order it anywhere online they want to. You can put it on pre-order on Amazon. You can do all these things that are wonderful for you and get your book in many, many more places, but just make it not returnable until, at this point.
Yeah, smart. That would be a bummer that happened to you and you
Yes,
didn't
and
realize
this
it was
just
a
happened
possibility.
to me very recently, and it
Oh,
was a giant bummer because I have a publishing company, and we were doing some promos on multiple of our books, and it was an ungodly amount, very
okay.
painful.
Wow.
You
Appreciate the
don't want
disclaimer.
that.
No, you don't. Friendly warning.
Right.
Yeah.
And I just want to say I'm a huge fan of Ingram Spark. It is a tool that we use I mean, I've used them from the very beginning. I love that. This is a glitch in the matrix right now, what's
Okay.
happening
I
in the way
gotcha.
that things, and until that glitch gets fixed, it's better. And the reality, if you don't mind me just going into a little bit of
Yeah,
publishing
go for it.
knowledge here, the reality is you don't need your books to be returnable most of the time as indie authors, like, because bookstores, as sad as it is to say, bookstores are not just clamoring to go buy self-published authors books. However, you have it there so that they can, if you're working with the bookstore, or and all those types of things. So it's nice that it's out there. It's nice that if somebody goes to Barnes and Noble or Books a Million or their local bookstore, they can look up the book in the system and they can see that it's there and they can order it for someone, and that gives you all that extra exposure. So really, without going into a huge discussion on this, it doesn't harm you at our level with where sales are coming from to make it not returnable, but it will save you from Amazon being Amazon.
Yeah, shocker, huh?
Right.
Yeah.
So
Okay. Yeah, great.
anyway, back to ARC teams.
Yeah, great knowledge. Yeah, so I have two questions about the ARC team stuff. So like I think you mentioned this and maybe I just misheard it, but like are you trying to get people on your ARC team as soon as they join your newsletter, like during that welcome sequence, or do you wait till later once they're warmed up a little bit?
So it totally depends on where you are in the process when people join your email list, right? Because
That makes sense.
that's not part of our normal email sequence. What we do is we will have, if somebody is in the launch mode, we have a sign up that's just for the ARC copy of the book. So there will
Hmm.
be a place on their website or something that is just for them to utilize when they are specifically looking for ARC team members. So if they already have an existing email list, what we would do in this scenario is we'd just send out a broadcast or a one-off email and say, hey, I'm launching my book now and I'm looking for people to be on the launch team. I'm giving away advanced reader copies. If you're interested in this, go here. And then we would send them to the form to sign up specifically for the ARC team. I
And
keep those as very separate lists because I don't want to lose people from my regular email list who don't want to be bombarded about information for the launch team.
yeah.
And, and there will be people who come to the launch team or the ARC team specifically who have no interest in being on my regular email list either.
Okay. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Yeah, I was just curious because I don't do it in my welcome sequence either.
Yeah.
I'm the I, I got a book launch in. I send an email out to my people and they
Yeah.
respond and I get my people and
Exactly.
that's how it works.
Yeah.
So when you get these people on your launch team, is it always you send them a digital version and a print version, or do you
Yep.
decide which one it is?
Correct. So what we do is we have them fill out the kind of form where we ask them some questions like to find out. For me, I'm happy to give anybody who wants an ebook an ebook. Anybody under the sun who wants to read the book, I don't care if they have social media, I don't care any of those things. It's all about just getting people to read the book, and hopefully they will at least leave a review on Goodreads or Amazon at some point in time. For the print books, though, we are specifically looking for people who are quote unquote influencers
Mm,
in the reading world. So we're looking for people who have social media that is basically dedicated to telling people about books. So book talkers, Instagrammers, bloggers, they're still out there, y'all. They are still out there and living strong. And YouTubers are the primary areas, so we'll do our research to find people who have those high numbers, who are doing things, and not always just high numbers. High engagement is more important. You can have 100,000 followers and have 3 people like each post. That's not exciting. You can have 1,000 followers and have 700 people like each post. That is exciting. So we spend some time researching this and going in and looking, using hashtags, going in and following other authors and seeing who's reviewing and engaging on their posts, doing things like that. It's not an easy strategy to do that, which is why if you don't want to waste the time, I'm sorry, waste is not a correct and
yeah.
not a good word.
Whoa.
If you, it's not a waste of time at all. It's a very effective use of time. If you don't have the time to do that level of analysis and go in there, there's tour companies like Book Love Tours is a company we use for almost all of our books. They're amazing. They do this. They run. You can look them up on Instagram. I'm sorry, Love Book Tours, and they'll put all of this together for you. They find the reviewers, they do all the fun back end stuff. You literally fill out a form and then send the copies of the books and you can decide, do you want to send 7 copies, do you want to send 14 copies, do you want to do a 7-day thing, do you want to do ebook only? You get to decide, and then they do all the management of that for you.
Which would obviously not be free, I'm assuming.
It's not, but their prices are super reasonable. We're actually going to have Kelly on the Women in Publishing Summit this year because I'm like, listen, lady, I tell everybody I know about your company. I need you to come talk about it because, we're constantly sending people your way. But yes, it's very reasonably priced, in the tune of, I can't remember what their lowest package is. We generally pay about $300 per package, and they find us 7 to 14 reviewers. And you might think that's a lot of money, but 7 to 14 reviewers who go out there and post and create that buzz that you can then repost and share. And many of them have a lot of followers who are reading your type of book. Like that's that's a good number of folks creating some buzz, and sometimes it's more than that. We've had tours where she was like, and that's just the print book, right? There can be no unknown numbers of people who request the ebook. We've had tours that have had 50 stops on them. So
And it's like, what are the dividends that pay off of those 7 to 14? Like, if they're creating the buzz and it's out there, like you don't know what all is going to come off the back end of that as well. But yeah, you're right. People think, 7 or 14 reviews, but like, what if it's 10 high quality, like 5-star reviews on your launch day? I mean, that is good.
exactly.
That could make a huge difference.
It really can. And the other side of it is, even if nothing else happens other than people following you on social media, if you're utilizing, let's say it's on Instagram, if those people follow you on social media and then see you posting about it and all of those types of things, or get on your email list because they followed you and then you posted something, or you're able to grow that number, like it can be exponential, the reach that you can have through something like this. So it's for me, it's an important part of our launch process, although it's not necessarily part of the ARC team. But back to what, the ARC team process, we do put out that form. And like, for example, if we are entering our book into a promo on BookFunnel and we build the email list through that funnel, then we will deliver the book through to them and add them to an email sequence to receive the book from us and to remind them to go read the book. And then we will invite them to be part of the launch team, invite them to fill out the form, to maybe get a print copy of the book or some other swag. We do giveaways. We do other things to entice them to want to be a part of the process, because to your point, 7, 14, 50 reviews on launch week, it's critical.
Yeah, and I'm curious because you're talking. I use BookFunnel all the time for myself and clients, so I'm very familiar with it. When you're doing this for the sake of getting people into the door for a new book that's going to launch, and then you send them to that unique sequence that hopefully gets enough people on the launch team, um, are they, when they're signing up for this promo, are they getting that full book ebook for free from the jump, and then you just run them through, and hopefully they've read it, you've created enough interest, and they're like, oh, of course, I would love to be on the launch team.
Yes,
Okay.
correct. So anybody who comes in through BookFunnel, we give them the full book. And then yeah, we try to nab them through some other
Okay.
manner of getting them onto the launch team. But you know, the thing is, like, here's the reality of the situation. And I know this from hard cold numbers that I can share with you. So our first children's book launch in 2018, I do all genres, by the way, but I have my own children's book publishing company. I also write fiction, so that's how I know about fiction. We've worked with lots of fiction authors, in case you, but this is an example that I can give you that's specific to these numbers. We wanted to build, we'd never launched a children's book before, so we didn't have a big email list around people interested in participating in a children's book launch. We were starting it all from scratch. So we ran Facebook ads, highly effective. We had over 1,200 people request a copy of the book through that form that they got through the Facebook ads. And this was like a low budget Facebook ads. We did not spend thousands of dollars. Like, it was just people were interested in receiving a free copy of the book. But that's the downside. It's people that are interested in receiving a free copy of a book. They may not understand any of the rest of the process. So of those, I think it was, if I remember correctly, I think it was 1,012 subscribers that we added to our list with the free downloads of it. 52 people left reviews in launch week. That's not bad. Our goal was 50 reviews in launch week, and we were tickled to death with that. However, we were like, where are the rest? Where are the other 955 people, or however many it is? Like, where is
Freebie
everybody?
seekers. Yeah.
Right. And so a lot of people, well, one, they'll download it and realize they don't care about the topic or the subject. But most likely what happens is people say, yes, I want this. And then life happens and they get busy. So at the time, I didn't really know and understand how important it was to continue to follow up and follow up and follow up. Now, what has happened from that list is, even if those people didn't go back and leave reviews on the Princess Monroe book, we kept that list as our book launch list for every time we do a children's book list. And we said, hey, we're going to be publishing more children's books. If you want to keep receiving books and reviewing them, we'll keep sending you the form to fill out every time we launch a book. And that email list has stayed intact. I think we've lost maybe 100 people have unsubscribed, but for the most part, many of them have stayed. And even if they haven't reviewed every book, some of them have reviewed different books. So you just never know what's going to come out of it. But freebie seekers are freebie seekers. You know, for whatever reason, you come to something, either you don't have the budget or the time, or something looks really appealing for you and you do it, but you're not invested at that point to do anything else. And that's fine. That just know that that's why numbers are so important. If you want 50 reviews, you need 500 people on your launch team. And that's numbers are numbers, right? You could really have, especially if you've done more than one book, or if you already have an email list of people who've been following you. Maybe you've been doing short stories and they just love everything about you. Maybe you've been building this email list and they just, if they're true fans, they're going to leave the reviews. But if it's cold audience, it's going to be a lot more work for you to get them to leave reviews. So another reason why hiring companies who go out and find what we call vetted reviewers, these people have an interest on the line, because if somebody in Kelly's book tour doesn't post their review, they don't get a book next time. So they are highly motivated to post something. Even if they don't get a chance to review the book, they'll post the cover and they'll say something about the book and share something about it, So yeah, reviews are probably the hardest thing under the entire sun.
Amen to that. Yeah, no kidding. Even if 99 cents or like it's easy, they got it for free, they have to take 5 minutes to go do something. You're right. People will innately take the lazy way out and not just want to do it. And it's human nature. You can't change it, unfortunately.
And you
Um,
know that, but that is something that while we were talking about, educating your audience, it doesn't take long for you as the author. And keep in mind, once you create an email sequence, as we all know, well, maybe not. If you don't know this yet, once you create an email sequence, it's created forever. You take the work to do it one time and then it's done. So take the time to do some really good emails, because hopefully, as fiction authors, you're going to be launching a lot of books. Hopefully, you're not a one and done. We're going to have lots of books coming out there, so you can just rinse and repeat with your next group of launch team and ARC members. So take the time to create either a quick tutorial video, either through a video or screenshots, or just list out the steps step by step, because you'd be surprised how many people have never left a review on Amazon. So if you just say, here's how you do it. You click this link, it'll get you to the sales page. You scroll down, you're going to see the reviews. You click here, add your review, add a title. You can just write, "This book was the best book I ever read." Hit submit. It doesn't have to be, I think a lot of people think, oh my gosh, one more thing to do all of this kind of stuff. Make it simple for them, show them how to do it. Those are the types of things that you can talk about in your Facebook group if you do that. Or, so it really does come down to managing a good ARC team, comes down to keeping them educated, informed, and just stacked with resources so that they can very easily do things. Every time you talk about the book, include the link to where you want them to go. Include content for them to post on social media. Include the description, include some snippets and things to make their life easier. The easier you can make it for people, the more likely they're going to do those things. And remind them to read the book so that they can review it.
Yeah, you're right. Life gets in the way, like you said. I'm gonna ask you one more question, and then you can make this a short answer. I know you've got another important call to jump on here in about 20 minutes, so I don't want to take you right to the wire. Is for somebody who has zero audience and maybe doesn't have a book out yet, or let's just say they do have a book out yet, they just have never thought about growing an audience, and they don't have like zero. Let's say no email list, no social media following, any of that. Like, can they still build an art team, and how would they do that? Would it be through the cheap Facebook ads and just try to get it going from that, or where do they go?
Well, I will tell you that every single author I have ever worked with, except for the entrepreneurs, they're aside, the nonfiction authors are different, as we discussed earlier. Every single fiction author I have worked with has started from zero, or maybe we'll give them 10.
Same.
We'll give them 10 or 15. When they started with their first launch, they had nobody. So in all the things that I've just been telling you about, we built those things from scratch. So what we did was we started with them on social media. We said, start your social media account, start growing followers, start doing those types of things. And then you can start posting that you're looking for ARC readers, things of that nature. We put everybody in BookFunnel, and have them start going through the promos, the free promos in there, because that's gonna bring people in. And that's how we built most of the email lists, honestly, for the launches, is through BookFunnel campaigns. And of course, that one big Facebook ad. But a Facebook ad, yes, is a great tool if you know how to do it properly, if you can set it up, if you have somebody who can create a great resource for you. We've been running ads to so the key thing with Facebook ads is that you're sending them to an opt-in, a lead magnet, something. You're not sending them to, obviously, if you're trying to get them on your launch team, you're sending them to a form that they can fill out. So you want it to be enticing. Have a cover of your book, have the description of the book, make it clear who would be a good reader for the book. This is the perfect book for somebody who likes blah 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 and blah blah blah. And then it's a no-brainer for a lot of them to just add their information. And then you have to have that email sequence that's very clear on what you're doing, and who you're doing that for, and what you want them to do, and all of those things. So yes, absolutely, through all the regular email generating things. And if you don't have any of those things, then go back to the tools that we talked about, Book Sirens. And so NetGalley is expensive. Book Sirens is not. Love their crew over there. They have made it so easy and so fiscally it's just it is really easy. Not only that, they give you a link so that if you're marketing your book to your audience to get on your to go leave reviews through their tool, they have a special link for you, and you will not get charged for anybody who uses that link to get the book, which is great because
Ooh.
then you can use that. If it's cold people that come in through their promotion, then it's $2 per download. And you can set a cap. You can say, I only have a $50 budget, so cap it at 25 people, or yeah. So that's Book Sirens is a great tool for that. But I mean, there are promo groups, there are Facebook groups, there are audiences of readers. The most important thing, and this is a big nugget here, is don't go bugging a bunch of the bugging. Sorry, that's a rude word. Don't expect to find your advanced readers in your author groups. Go to reader groups, go to book groups. There are tons of them out there. Find them that way, because authors are busy and we're all under the same amount of overwhelm and trying to do all these things ourselves too, right? So it's really hard to get into that. Oh my gosh, now I have to read 75 people's books because I promised them a review, and instead of they're in exchange for review of those books. Those are great in certain circumstances, wonderful in certain circumstances. If you have somebody who's got the exact same audience and cross promo is beneficial, absolutely do that. And that's a whole nother thing. Like you can do promotions with other authors, do newsletter swaps, see if you've got somebody who will take you under their wing and say, hey, I have this new author friend, she's like launching her first book and is really in need of people, and you can garner that kind of support. So make connections with people in your communities to do those types of things. But yes, that was a long answer to say abso-freaking-lutely you can start from zero and still build a very successful launch team. We've gone from zero. No, most of our launch teams wind up between around 100, sometimes 150 people strong, sometimes a little bit more than that, depending on, obviously, with the first one for Princess Monroe, it was really big. Yay, Facebook ads.
Yeah,
But
that's right. Yeah, if you can do them right, right.
right.
Yeah.
So it's a process, and it's one of those things that you want to think through, that you want to do the work, get it set up properly, and utilize it, because the end result of having even 50 people willing to post pictures on social media, willing to post your and don't forget, it's not just about buying the book and reviewing the book. There's a lot of things that people can do if they're too busy or don't have the funds or any of those things. You can, again, make it easy, create some fun graphics for them and give them to them and say, can you post this on your Facebook page? Can you post this on your Instagram? Can you do whatever here and just share about it? Can you, next time you're at your book club, can you mention to your friends, hey, this is a book that I'm reading, or whatever? There's a lot of things that you can ask them to do for you to help you create that word of mouth marketing and getting people to your book.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, I'll stop asking you questions, I promise. Okay, so
I would talk to you all day.
I know we're on our podcast tour already. We don't know it.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. All right. Cool. So I think we covered a lot there. I think a lot of it made sense. I think I learned some stuff I didn't, previously know, which is always awesome for me. I always like nerding out on these interviews. Selfishly, I always get a lot out of it, even though I'm the one interviewing the person.
I know, it's
Um,
amazing.
so it's a lot of fun. So before we hop off here, if people want to learn more about you, where would they go? And then I'm pretty sure you got some cool things for the people listening and watching too.
I do. Well, I would say you can find me personally, Alexa Bigwarfe on Instagram. I have my personal account. My business accounts are going to be Write, Publish, Sell and the Women in Publishing Summit. So you can look up either of those everywhere: Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, all the places. Then I do have a resource for you. If you go to writepublishsell.com/ARC for advanced reader copy, I'll give you a checklist that kind of goes through the things that you need for building your ARC team. And for our premium pass members, I'm going to just go ahead and give you an entire module that basically takes you through all of those things step by step. I'm going to pull out a module from our book launch in a box program and make that available, because this is really important. And building your reviewers, getting reviews, creating momentum, creating buzz. Like, the people who are willing to put the time and energy and effort into this piece of it and continue their marketing throughout are the ones who are going to see the best return overall.
Yep, I agree. That's important. I always think long game when it comes to my authoring. So it's like,
Mhm.
what can I do now that can get some momentum, but then build on those strategies and those systems and just continue to double down on them. And then hopefully, after enough time, you've built your systems out, you know what works, and you're just
Mhm.
continuously including that in the next book and the next book, and things will just keep growing. Um,
Exactly.
so yeah, I think that's a great way to end. I appreciate you, of course, again taking the time, those cool resources, especially for the premium pass. Taking a module like that out and giving them access to that, I think is going to be super beneficial for especially what we just talked about. Um, and yeah, that's all I got. Do you have any parting words before I let you off the hook here?
You can do this. It's hard work, but it's fun, and the results are going to come to you. Can I give a little plug for my because I write my rom-coms under my pen name. So my
Please do.
pen name is Lexi Haddock, and I'm on Instagram at Lexi Haddock Author. And my book is 4 Days in Paris, and I have not promoted it at all. So I've not followed. Actually, I did do an ARC team, a small ARC team, and we did do a tour through Love Book Tours, which was phenomenal, and I loved it. And how much fun was that? But if you like romantic comedies set in Paris, please do check my book out.
Okay, we'll have her website, her Instagram stuff, and that freebie down there, and then we'll also have her pen name. Maybe that's the personality that comes with the counterterrorism person, but
Oh,
which would be
so
weird because it's rom com,
yes.
right?
Yes, but the rom-com was a one-off, and it was kind of a crazy thing, and it was a healing. I'm just gonna share. It was like my way to heal
Gotcha.
through my divorce. Basically, I
Okay.
wrote a wonderful, fun story. But Lexi has some big plans for like maybe a series with something like a female Jack Ryan type book going on. I know this is right down your
Ah,
alley, so we
yes,
may have
ma'am,
to
it
talk.
is. Yeah.
And I'm working on one that's like a vigilante killer book as well. So there's Lexi's going to make a big shift, and it's kind of funny because my boyfriend's always like, "And this book is brought to you by the author of 4 Days in Paris, a sweet rom com."
Yeah,
Kill, kill, kill.
I might have to write that character into my book. She sounds like she'd fit perfectly.
There we go.
Yeah, that's
I'm
awesome.
here for interviews if you want to know about what's happening in that head.
Yeah, that's right. That's awesome. Well, again, I appreciate you being here. We'll have all these links down here. The cool bonus for the premium pass that'll be behind. That'll be in the bundle for the premium pass buyers. And again, thanks for being here. I know you got other things to get to, so I appreciate you
You.
taking the time. And hopefully, people learned as much as I did, like I always do with these interviews. And thanks again, and we'll see everybody in the next one.
Thank you.